Tell me you've done more kuva liches than you have the sisters, without saying you've done more kuva liches than sisters. This is why the Tenet Glaxion is so important. There is not enough Tenet-based weapons compared to kuva-based. But this thing, was it worth the wait? Yes, you're going to have to deal with a sister. You're going to need a planet dominated by Corpus, and you're going to need the ship because you're looking for the golden hand, and that only appears on the ships. Any ship, any mission that takes place on a ship. Spoiler warning, leave it on normal, do the sabotage. Not timed, not limited, and as long as you do the hand before you complete the mission, you can take your time while in there. And sometimes you'll get really lucky and there's one right at the beginning, which means you don't. Past there, you're going to want to go in, use a Zenith Granum Crown, and you only need it to get to rank 1. I did test this. Everybody keeps saying you got to go max rank. No, rank 1 will do. And then you're going to be probably given a lot of random candidate who is going to have a random weapon, and best thing about this now, it's not going to repeat. Once a weapon has been there, it is removed from the list until you have had a sister or gone through the entire list and there's nothing left, then it will start over again. Once you've had a sister, it refreshes, the list will start again. Meaning, no repeats. So, you may end up having every Tenet weapon there is, like me, before this finally turns up. After that, obviously, you need to form the requiem to get the correct sequence by taking out the hounds, then you have to take out the sister, then you have to collect the weapon. It's been so long, I forgot you actually receive the hound as well for completing this, but there it is. Ordis has found the blueprint and built it for you, so all you have to do once you have done it is come collect your prize. Pre-built. So is the hound, by the way, if you want one. If not, leave it there. If we go from the Vandal to the Tenet, it does the same thing again. Everything is better. Apart from the magazine, it falls between the standard one's 80 and the Vandal's 100, but everything else, this is an upgrade to an event weapon. Which is great, because it means more crit chance, more crit multiplier, more status, more forma, because yes, it's a Tenet weapon, so 5 forma incoming, but don't forget, it will also require one of these. Actually, before I do forget, this does have a 46.4% elemental bonus, that can be random up to 60%, but that does go on top of the base damage for these things, so it may have had 34 damage, but it actually has more because it adds that to the damage, and 49.8 damage now. 49.8 total damage now, but I've just noticed it's turned it to blast. 5 forma later, and I guess at this point that mod is completely useless. It's adding cold, it's adding damage, it's adding fire rate. It is the 3 best things to have on a weapon that is based on cold, as well as serration. Let's not forget serration, because that obviously adds damage. As long as you're aiming for about mid-range, heavy caliber will work in this, yes, wonderfully. It will add another 165% damage, but the loss of accuracy means the beam won't go where you're aiming it. That also being said, Sinister Reach increases the beam length. That works wonders on this. That is also where my 5th forma went, in case you're counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As for everything else when it comes to this, yeah, adding a different element or trying to swap that element over can be slightly problematic. I did add corrosive on there because Hadma did also put split chamber on there. A bit of multi-shot doesn't really hurt that much, and crit, point strike, vital sense, 50% crit chance with a 4.8 times crit multiplier. I think I'll probably prefer to build this thing more for status than I would for crit, so I will probably end up swapping out the point strike and vital sense this has in favour of having all 4 of the dual elemental mods. Simply because all 4 of them, depending on the order you have them in, this would be gas and magnetic, that would be blast and corrosive. You could probably also easily swap that round and have viral and radiation. Either way, it goes to 136% status. So run it crit, run it status, that would be completely up to you. I think I'm going to go this route and just dump the elemental mods. In fact, I'm saying that and I'm already kind of adding the mods in now. We'll also kind of ignore the fact that it also takes the damage up by about 600. Whether you build it towards crit or build it towards status, it depends what you're doing. They are adding a lot of things soon that should make it easier to choose that though, but until then, my biggest problem with the Tenet Glaxion is I had too much fun using it, and every time my brain went straight to, this is them trying to make a kuva nuco as a primary. Yeah, the way that it arcs between enemies, it reminded me so much of the kuva nuco. It was as if they were trying to make a primary that matched the kuva nuco. But, it doesn't get there. It doesn't reach the same level than the kuva nuco does. Is it better than the kuva nuco? I'm not willing to touch that one with a barge pole. Simply because it has a slower fire rate, it does less damage, it has more status though, and technically less damage. Yeah, it's not an understatement. It just depends how you get yours to drop. You may be able to build it more towards other things. Its magazine is slightly better, but it doesn't arc between as many enemies. The beam kind of hits up to 4 enemies, and I kind of liked it. Even though it says it boasts superior damage, crit chance and status chance, the crit chance is very handy to have. The status is also very handy to have. Only reason I'm willing to turn around and say, given a choice, kuva sobek, Tenet Glaxion, I think I'd have to side with the Glaxion just because I like the range a little bit better. It arcs between enemies, which is the main reason people use the kuva nuco. It has nothing to do with, oh, it melts enemies, it does this, it does that. There are weapons out there that will one-shot a level 200 enemy. One level 200 enemy. The nuco will arc between them and take out a few of them at a time. This does the same thing. And just simply down to that, they took the Glaxion, they made it better with the Vandal. They then took the Vandal and made it even better with the Tenet version. Then, because it's a Tenet version, it has an included elemental buff, depending on what frame you're using, that made the better stats even better. So you take a weapon, make it better again, and then make it even better while making it better the last time around. So it's twice as good now as it has ever been. You just have to decide what you're doing with it. Go for crit, go for status. Literally depends what you're doing. Really doesn't matter that much because in either combination it's amazing. In the status side it's just slightly better. But we've gone on way too long, so we'll leave this off here for now. Thanks for watching and I'll catch you next time.